All right, we're live.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Off the Deep End. We are having another session with Ivan Teller from ivanteller.com and his YouTube channel, Ivan Teller. Ivan Teller is the ET channel extraordinaire who channels everything from angels to aliens. It's always a pleasure to have him here. Ivan, welcome to the show.
Oh, greetings. And I want others to know, well, can't win them all. Want others to know this is going to be it's going to be about politics. We're trying to get that out of the way so we can move on to other things. But yeah, it's going to be politics for right now. I'll also let others know that, we talk about the politics situation. Understand the ideas, the galactic direction we're going into is more of a, we're going into more positive. And that's where both parties unite, not necessarily, I guess it's called a one world government, but not as what we see it as, ours of us all negative. We're just in infancy right now. So anyway, I might want to kick my cat out. Hold on for a second. If you want to say something, let me get rid of him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's all right. Okay, he's not following yet. Just being a little bit pornographic back there. But anyway, anybody's listening, yeah, it's just a cat taking a bath in the background. So anyway.
He just likes to touch himself. That's
yeah,
all.
There you go.
Next song, I touch myself.
Yeah. So anyway, so I was going to do a video about this, going to a little bit, but this seems to be the better way for. I will eventually. But yeah, people are tired of politics. But a lot of people have questions. They want answers. They don't like the results. They don't like Trump. Some people don't like Clinton. It's just, only reason I'm bringing this stuff up because people want answers. Not to say all of things going to be answered here, but it is hopefully helps heal those that need healing. So that's what this is about.
Closure in their hearts.
I know. I mean, I know we're kind of beating the politics to death. But then again, our politics is negative, and if you remove the negative, it is about all of us, because we're all interconnected. And I've been trying out telepathy recently, so.
Oh yes.
A little bit here and there.
Are you going to do a class on it?
I don't know how to do it yet, so but I mean, my only thought. Well, my mentor knew how to do it. And I don't know, I guess you have to be super positive because you're like having a grumpy day. It's like, I'm going to tell this person what's going on. That doesn't always go through from one that I gather. So anyway, so it better be positive. I think the positive. Then again, stuff my mentor said to me wasn't very positive, but anyway. I don't know.
What's your mentor?
Jethro Smith is a psychic, and he was here in Tampa. That's where they had the psychic fair, or circle, and then it turned into a fair eventually. And he's Indian and professional psychic for quite a long. He's psychic since he was like a little kid, almost drowned, and all of a sudden his brain opened up so he can connect to the angels and all that. Oh yeah, he lost his keys at the beach, and his guy said, "Don't worry, just get a hotel, and you'll find him in the morning." And sure enough, he did.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's how loud his guides are. They're that loud. They're just. You can hear them pretty clearly. And they told him where to find them, too, where to find keys. So
maybe he can tell me where my mom's gold chain is, because I was told to forget about it and that it'd show up eventually, and it has not. And I tried to forget about it.
It's not always.
Except I just remembered it now.
Yeah, it's not always 100%. So, but anyway, that's the way it is. So, okay. I'm going to go into meditation. And if you have anything if you want to say whatever you want during that. So.
I will.
Oh yeah, who we're bringing in? I guess we can leave that as a surprise. So yeah, the object we're going to talk about the politics, and maybe we'll switch over. It'll still be politics, but be a different being. Mm-hmm. So maybe this will be like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I'm not sure if we're going to go for full. We'll see how it goes. For some reason, I had a long day. Anyway, so all right, much love and.
Much love. And once again, you're listening to another edition of Off the Deep End on sportsovertime.com. I am interviewing Ivan Teller, and he's going to bring in some interesting people from our political past.
Greetings.
Reading.
This is Edgar Hoover. Lovely. You are all lovely. Oh, yes, the rumors are true. I do. Of my sexual self. The only reason I'm bringing it up is some of you find it fascinating. Some of it is serious or governmental as I was. But someone has to enjoy themselves every once in a while.
Yeah.
Even during my time, I felt like I was more of a female energy than a male, but that is a reason for that. And I had no problem of expressing my results, you could say, my indulgence. But that's not why I'm here. But some are, yes, some like those things. But also, yes, I know I'm coming here for different reasons, but also for those that feel like they are of another section, of another sexuality, of another, like if you're male, if you feel like you're female, there's nothing wrong with expressing yourself, but yes, your world does not make it easy. But having that female lifetime have had helped me in my male lifetime of balance, but also understanding the human condition, because I did not have a male lifetime before. It was mostly females. So having a male lifetime was the endurance of a female, the gusto of a female went into my male. So it kept me going, meaning I did not require a lot of sleep. I did, of course I slept, but it did help me do the things as long as I went, especially all the scandals and things. It helped much. And many wanted a male face instead of female, because you imagine a female can never be in that position, but if a male that is in a female in a male incarnation was sufficient. But all of that was part of my DNA. But that is not what I'm here for. And I heard of a call of the assistance of your political climate. As you have questions, and then after your questions, I will.
Actually, wanted to talk to you a little bit about the female energies and how that helped you do your job. I wanted you to elaborate on that more. And then like the cross-dressing, I just wanted to make a comment that I imagine it must have been really hard for you to express yourself in those days. And I think that, a lot of people in general, even now, can't really express themselves like they should be because they're in fear of, people's opinions and stuff,
What was happening is that I was more attracted to my sex, same sex. But also, after a while, I began to feel more feminine, more female, so that's where the dressing came from. And many have fear of bringing that into their lifestyle. But as for having the feminine energy, I was a workaholic, and that feminine energy helped very much with that. And it was just a precise way of thinking also. I had a sharp way of thinking. My mind was just like a computer. It was just, we did not have computers, we had to be the computer. So we have to turn people into computers. That way they can gather data. So it was another way. So yes, I was I was supposed to be part of the FBI, and what better person to? You can say I had a lot of Zeta Gray energies. I believe some of us see that in my facial features. I do look alien. Some may yell, but a lot of Zeta is there, mostly Zeta. But the female lifetimes, and then having a male lifetime as my exit last life, meaning was much sufficient as for becoming a workaholic, one that can know many things, but also remember faces. The names of those faces was very much for my feminine energies. It's just you can unlock more of the spiritual essence. You can bring that in when you have all these female lifetimes. When the male, they become more disconnected. But when you just had so many female lifetimes and then have a male lifetime, you're practically still a woman, just with different genitalia. So you're pretty much the same thing. Of course, you look different, obviously. But now they have technologies to change that, as I see. So yes, it was much useful. It helped with stress also. It helped with many things. As for the feminine energies, yes.
And when you say it helped with stress, like in what way did it help?
To work more, but how to release through alcohol, but also dressing up was part of it also is another way of becoming me. It's like all this work and I can go be me. The me is not what is accepted by society, but that's why I kept it in the closet for good reason.
Yeah. So it's an additional way to escape.
Yes. It was. I felt more comfortable in a dress, and I did not go to work in a dress. Not that I recall, but I did want to. That was the preferred gown, what I prefer, but was unable to do so. And many are aware of that. I told many, not a lot, but a good amount for me that knew of my experiences.
I think it's very interesting that you had this feminine side and you were also homosexual, but you were able to accomplish all the things that you did that is usually viewed as more masculine. I think that you balanced that very well.
Yes.
That goes to say something for like the underestimation of what a woman can do.
Oh, yes. When you realize women, sometimes they feel like they're built better than men, but that is true. But men have more of the masculine, and they're there to lift the heavy things and go through things that women do not want anything to do with.
No, thank you.
There's many on your collecting garbage. Many women don't want to be part of that. It does require a lot of heavy lifting, as you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
Things of that. The dirty jobs, maybe female, some do, but not enough to. It is not appropriate. They're not structured the way males ought to do certain jobs, and that's even. But some are.
Yeah, there's the small percentage of women that are really, for example, I'm going to get hell for this, but like in the military, there's a big push by like small group of women to be allowed to do the combat jobs, like combat.
Yes.
When I say combat arms, because you can go to combat, but are you going to be in the infantry units and things like that?
Yes.
No, so a lot of them wanted the chance to try this out,
Yes.
and fighting hard to do this, but a lot of women in general get flack because of this, because it's like, oh, you and these other women want to do this job.
Yes.
I'm like, no, I'm very happy doing what I do. I respect their decision. If they want to do that, if they feel like they're fit because of that, and they can pass the same requirements as a male, like all power to them. Let's just be professional and move on.
Yes. But there is a governmental information you want to talk about?
Yes, I think one thing that Ivan wanted to discuss is just basically how the parties, for example, they just kind of work off of each other.
Yes.
It's basically all one thing. I kind of figured out, I broke it down kind of like a military company, and you have like 2 platoons. There's Alpha and Bravo platoon, or first and second platoon, or whatever. And, you know, the first platoon does this and second platoon does that, but every now and then they cross train or something.
Well, both your parties are completely corrupt. From top to bottom, they put in the impression that they are not corrupt, but they are all Illuminati controlled. They have different colors of different colors of the same beast, you can say.
Yes.
They are controlled by different parts of the Illuminati. That you call them, they have different names. They don't like to be called that, actually, but it doesn't matter. Who cares? But it is used as a control system and showing also how the American people are blindsided constantly. Not all, but a good amount of them are. Not all. Many do break out and just say, this is ridiculous, and build your third parties, which is nothing wrong with that. But understand, these 2 big ones won't let them live. They suffocate them. They corrupt them also as much as they can, at least to suffocate them in enough where they can't have the power over the people, which is not to say they are wrong. Most of the time, in some ways, not always, that they are right, but obviously the corruption's there also. To blanket it slightly. But what is mostly what this energy is in your 2-party system? What is a one-party dictatorship is one way of putting it. It is actually a cabal. It is a control mechanism used for humanity to rule humanity, and it's doing itself very well. The idea of change is not really, yes, a change in regimes of different agendas. It has to be different agendas after your 8-year span or 4-year span. Your Nixon was bought off, and all of your Kennedy was a pain in the ass. Be off many times. So we knew during Kennedy's, we knew what we had to do because he was not cooperating anymore. That was aware of what was going on. It's like, you want a public execution, we'll give you one. And he insinuated, he knew what was going to happen, he knew where, and he did not care. Because we gave him warnings, and he could have just changed the route or changed his mind not to go. But he changed his mind on that very much.
Yeah, and I understand he did that so that the world could know, okay, here's another instance where something's going on that you're not paying attention to, you know?
Yes. One moment. Yeah, I paused it for a second. I think I paused it, yeah. Okay, we'll go back. All right, let me reconnect. What J. Edgar Hoover with him. That helps because he's getting moody. Okay, all right. Well, the cat was always. I'll turn it. All right, well, we'll let J. Edgar turn it back on. Yes. One moment. So. Yes, as I was saying, what is this current governmental system is quite interesting. One is putting in, as it's called, an outcast, is there to just bring a disruption for good reason. Many are tired of the old ways, so that's why this one was brought in. He was already aware, but not fully. They're not always aware that they're going to win or lose. That part is usually blacked out. They They make the decision, but much of it is blacked out. It does not. If they already knew, some do know. They just know. No matter what kind of wiping out you can do of their memory, they just know. But in this case, it was not known for good reason. As for your Trump-Hillary situation, this Trump is there to unify America to a certain degree, but understand the hostilities from the other party is not going to make it easy. As you know, attempts on his life are going to increase greatly, more than the one that's already currently in office for a good reason. Because they're not going to make it easy if he's going to be there. There was an oath, there was an agreement made for this Trump to win within your elite system. It was made like you will have your shot, we will let you, but we're not going to make it easy. And we remove him if we must. I do not see that happening. He will cooperate. You will see him talking about things of change and then changing his mind because he's not allowed to do it. Such as your wall around your Mexico is a laugh.
Yeah.
They will not give him power for that. But him bringing it up more does make him more discredited. But that is there for a reason. But this one is being controlled, slightly manipulated is a better word for it. As for Hillary Clinton, she has blood on her hands and she knows it. And she knows that she has a karmatic debt that is not going to be very easy for her in her next life. Most of this will be as for her next life is really where it's all going to start flooding in on her for what we see as a possibility. She can always change that. Would you see her living a peaceful life with some more of these scandals that come out, but her getting away with most of it?
Yeah, I understand. Yes. It's kind of crazy how, I know that Trump didn't do a good job about making his image look great because he came in full force. But, if anybody's been paying attention to Hillary's politics, at least while she's been officially in, they should understand, why her being president is laughable. There's just so much things that she has done and has not done as a senator, Secretary of State, or just her being Bill Clinton's wife,
Yes. There is a darkness that is going on. Yes, the Clintons are what is scandal that is written out there is very true. As for the rumors of what they're behind, most will not believe it because they feel it's too dark for humanity to believe. Your society is not ready for the truth. Some are, and they get very angry. They don't know how to handle it. As it does spill into your humanity, many will begin to change. The reason why these conspiracies don't hold water because your humanity doesn't know how to deal with it. So they sort of hear it and let it go and not do anything. They don't know what to do. So,
I understand, we're just really programmed, even the RGB ratio on the television when you watch it, it's just kind of made to give you a hypnotic type of trance, number one, to keep watching the television. And then if all you do is get your news from the media and the media is only telling you what they want you to hear, you're just being programmed. To act and think and do what they want you to do.
At this time, yes. At this time, your FBI is ran by the U.S. government. It is your government hitman. Well, not a hitman, but your government hitman, your government mafia, public one. Your CIA is more of the hidden mafia. Mm-hmm. It is still the same thing. Even those cartels are manipulated by the mafia for good reason. Yes. The reason I was brought in was just to bring a mirage, an illusion of help, but in truth it was just to continue the government control of humanity. To fingerprint everyone, to have everyone in a database, So you're going to be in this country. We're going to own you. Yes, they added a social security number to let you know you are owned by the government. You are a property. You are not an individual. You might.
And we now volunteer to tell everything because there's like Facebook and social media with an easy way to track people.
Yes, they make it easier for you to be tracked. But remember, you are a property of your England. You can say England is holds your country hostage. That is an illusion. They are very much part of your elite this year. Do not think you are free. Yes, they put that your Illuminati statue out there to let you know that who's running your planet, your country, or your planet is a better term for it. And your money is a joke. As for the dollar bill, that is just a reminder. That's the only reason that there is a reminder to let you know who owns you. I believe many are aware. It's not to bring fear. Yes, you are being the all-seeing eye knows all about you. Even without technology, they will still know about you no matter what. They will find a way.
And even the dollar bill says New World Order on it in Latin.
And they're going to continue that control. Once they lose control, your dollar bill will change. That is not happening anytime soon.
I understand it used to be backed by gold, and now it's just a legal tender.
Right now, it doesn't really mean anything. It is just... Right now, what's going on with your presidential system is in chaos at this time. Many of you feel like your presidential system will also change completely after this term of this one. Meaning it will not be seen the same. Yes, you will still have the two-party system. But we do see our American people understanding it more, meaning not abiding by it. I mean, they already brought in an outcast. Who's to say they will not bring another one in your next 8 years? We believe he will have a second term. Of course, this is very early. But we do see a possible, high probability, but possible for that time. And many will just bring in another radical for the other party eventually. That they're going by old politics. That's all they know at this time. But they are doing it. They're changing their programming also. So now they're changing it to this new radical. But this one is a lot less controlled, unlike the other one. The other ones are fully controlled, business as usual. This is not business as usual. This is a disruptor, and brought in to move chairs around, to reorganize your government also. The other ones weren't there for that. This one's here to reorganize, to change populations across your world. I can't go into details on that. If you'll figure it out on your own slightly. So when this government changes, the governments of your world change also. It is like a king of the world. Very much. And it is.
Yeah, we're the supreme world power.
Yes, your Russia wishes that place, but they were not chosen. But he does act like it now, doesn't he? You're Putin.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh, yes, Putin, yes.
He's actually a lot nicer than people realize. He does have ego, but there's certain rules he has to go by, just like the one in your presidency. Mm-hmm. As for freedom of speech, or Putin would actually allow freedom of speech, but he is not allowed to do so.
Yes, I've heard many speeches from him where he does talk about things that are sensitive about the U.S. government, yes. And he seemed like very open-minded, very caring about the world. But I do understand that, I mean, the U.S. and Russia, they have a deal. Yes. I mean, so they may be posturing against each other and discussing things of like war or whatever the case may be, but ultimately they have a backdoor deal that's been going on for a very long time.
Yes. Also, your Putin is allowed to say things much more publicly than your America can. He can get away with much of it. Talking about aliens, possible. That's on the list. But even Putin's kind of questioning that. He's not sure about it completely. But actually, the exploration of aliens, yes. But many topics, yes. The secrets of your government. You won't go that far. As for talking about classified information, he won't go there, but he'll talk around it.
Mhm.
He'll find ways to speak if he needs to of what's truly going on. No different than your Kim Jong-il's. Kim Jong-il is allowed to say whatever he wants because no one's truly holding him back. But everyone thinks he's crazy. That is a good point. But your Putin is definitely wants to change things, but he fears if he says too much, you will not be in power anymore. He'll be deceased. But he knows much, but yes, he has to keep a close look. Your American president actually knows much, but is mostly controlled. That is the control. So it is. You can say it has to go through Washington before Russia can speak of it, and also when you have your Snowden and your Russia, that is your elites playing games with each other.
Yes, you know what's really interesting? I was just discussing the Snowden story.
Yes.
And just like from the background that I have, had with the government, it just looking at how this plays out. I mean, it is impossible with the information he supposedly disclosed, which wasn't like that eye-opening. Is the government listening to us? That's not new news. Whether it's the NSA, the FBI, the CIA, the DEA, your local law enforcement, there's going to be like some warranted and unwarranted collecting of information. So he did not disclose any like sensitive, super sensitive information, at least to the public. But what amazes me is that how this person is still alive, or how he was able to transit through these different countries and not get killed.
Yes, it's an Illuminati game. It is much as done behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
The positive Illuminati, yes, kept him alive, but they're allowed to disclose some information. And it did actually disclose some of your aliens. It was like a warning to your shadow governments that we can go further. Like, this is our first attempt. We can go even further, exposing more, such as your aliens, which they won't go to, but they can. Most likely they won't, because the people aren't ready. But there's other information that they are playing games behind the scenes as for allowing this to come through more clearly. To have another data dump, but no time soon.
I understand that. I mean, he outside of XQ or whatever.
Yes.
He had a whole lot of other documents that ended up in China's hands and Russia's hands that could have basically hindered operations and basically cost lives of, for example, servicemen serving abroad.
Yes, it is. But it had its purpose for the moment. One thing we can say, your Nixon has a lot of regrets. He wished he said more about what was happening, but he was unable to. He was a puppet like any other. But also realized what he was doing to America, that it will be turned into what it is turned into now, was high unemployment and a lesser power than before.
And the quote-unquote healthcare system that we have now.
That was to bring more issues to longevity. Everyone's medicated now, don't you see? Well, it had to do with that.
Yeah, they're alive but not thriving.
Yes, there's a chemical warfare going on where many have to be heavily medicated. It's in your food, it's in your air, everything is constant. You are in a laboratory. You are the rats. And those that, yes, if you wish to live long, we're not going to make it easy for you. And if you wish to enter into this world, we're not going to make it easier for you either. Same.
I hear that like practitioners who practice natural medicine are getting knocked off, and like the companies that won't like sell their good products or whatever to Pfizer, they kind of get messed with as well.
It corrupt systems in your foods and everything, even your automobiles that you drive. Not all, but a good portion. Understand your Illuminati? Yes, they buy their way into these systems. They let these companies grow and then they take it over, just like your Apple, just like your Disney, just like your IBM. They let these people build them. They stay out of it. They do help fund it, but they stay out of it. Like your Walt Disney, they stayed out of it until he died. He's like, now it's ours. Because he made a deal. Walt Disney made a deal to keep the darkness out. He rejected much money. You'd be surprised of influence. Because he realized if he accepted this type of money, that he knew what was going on. And it caused what you have in your Walt Disney pedophilia, things of that. He knew it was going to come eventually. He knew that it was there, that these groups wanted to move in and change it into what it is today, a mind control factory. And during his time, there were certain gags that were, but not for control, but it has increased greatly as a great mind control program, no different than your music industry. Your music industry is there to cloud the minds of the youth. And then when they go into adulthood, they wish for suicide, they wish for death, because they're not living the dream that is being shown to them as for being rich. I believe you're aware of this. They put this whole phony mechanism of being rich, and this is what is being normal. But yes, a spiritual connection is nowhere to be seen, as you can tell.
Oh, yes, definitely. And also the fashion industry. I've been looking at a lot of fashion magazines, and what is up with the celebrities with a big muzzle on their face, and they're like, it's like a muzzle type headdress that they have, like if they're a dog in a like muzzle. I guess it's a new fashion thing. And then if you look at a lot of runway fashion, you have like Mickey Mouse ears and men dressed in pink, and then Hero and like Brain Dead, and also 666, the upside down sword, and the list goes on. And you see this in a lot of like celebrity photography too, the black and white checkerboard floor. I mean, Kardashians and the Beyonce herself, she's like she dresses like the Baphomet also a lot in her fashion.
Yes. What is happening, is to tear apart humanity. That's what all these things are continuing. Yes, some might feel this is the best time to be alive. Yes, if you're an elitist, yes. Because humanity is a lab rat. And they're going to constantly dissect you and treat you like animals. And many wish to be treated like animals. Look at your election. Those are becoming very angry. That is an animal-like instinct of a great amount of negativity, of a great amount of programming. Programming that is not getting what it wants. It was told that Hillary Clinton was the right one as part of the programming. It did not get it, so it's not reacting. Understand, if people undo these programmings, connect to spirit, connect to their heart, they will see all of these controls unwind and just wish to connect to the stars and not worry about your politics situation. Yes, they might tune in, but not be obsessed over it. What is going on is that your rulers are playing, games, but they're also realizing that humanity is very easy to manipulate. They're unwilling to realize what is with their potential. Materialism is potential. Power of materialism, of living on the islands with whatever prostitutes you want, or whatever it might be, or
popping champagne on the yachts and things like that.
Living in Manhattan at the penthouse with whatever. Oh, yes. And there was another thing of your, I want to touch upon, of your Washington, D.C., of the pedophilia farms that are there. There are several. And I was aware of all of it. Who do you think one delivered the kids? I played a good part in that, unfortunately. But that was part of my program, is to program others. But I was paid well, but not always aware of what was going on, but I was there to cover it up when it was found out. And those politicians there to pull their file, that is very true. Yes, there was a movie made of me, but it was not entirely accurate. But if it was accurate, it would be best. Child pornography would be all in that, and it would be gay orgies and every. But these are all senators and your congressmen and celebrities that are pulled in. Celebrities are tools also. They're used also to entertain your congressmen also.
Yeah, I understand that they have like there's government handlers of some celebrities, and I guess like for example, there's an anchor woman for a TV show. I forget which one, and then Kim Kardashian and just another actress is like showing up, kind of like with her, kind of like as her companion and or as her date. But she's been recorded as calling her mom, or hey, I hung out with your mom.
Yes.
But it's not her actual mother. It's this important anchor woman.
Yes, what is going on? Your Hollywood executives also, you can say that's another branch of the government. Your Hollywood is another branch of the government, of the mind control programs. It's
Yeah.
just another sector of it. Your music is also, but your Hollywood is definitely. Your gaming situation is also, but is less noticeable. It's because those that are doing the mind control are doing well without the government influence. When they start screwing up by not programming your society, then the government move on and put sexual things. They're already doing it to a certain degree. But their gaming people seem to be doing it on their own, just for entertainment purposes, just to fill their wallets. And they enjoy it also. It's a fantasy for them. So that's fine. So there's not at this time much government connection there. But as for your Hollywood, that is the big show. Your music is, yes, but your Hollywood is the big control mechanism. That is the big pictures. That is the big money, $200 million to make a lousy movie. Yes, is just that is done because of the programming that is built into the message. It does not necessarily mean it has to make a lot of money. It is just there to say a message. Understand they know how to make money. They know how to make these. They know how the chemistry works. And some of these devices are there to be made. These movies are made to say a message just because it's part of the Illuminati way. To say what you're doing is not necessarily
like,
supposed to.
Evening out karma kind
Yes,
of.
it's not supposed to have many eyes watching it. It does not matter as long as it's said. So it does not matter. So if they make these $1 million flops, much of that is done on purpose. It is just, yes, I believe there was one of gods and goddesses recently, your gods of Egypt. That had a lot of symbolism so that we still have control over your society. And we are laughing at them. And they don't even realize it. They call it a big flop. Well, your society, that's a big flop. Because it is, you are under its control. It is not understood, but many are eventually waking up, but not to have fear, but have an understanding that there is an outside source that you can end with the manipulation. But that has to do with maturity of being more positive, meditating, realizing you are of spirit. Some call spirit a religion that is false. It is just, yes, it is what you are. It's your glass of water. It is what you are. You are created. Water is water. And energy is energy. And you are energy. But that has been taken away from you. As for materialism, they block you in. They tear you apart. That's why many souls do not want, many do come here. But many do not want to come here because when they enter into this world, they are destroyed. You can say their soul is just ripped apart, ripped from them. Or you are just a robotic being. You can say
you're going to have to figure it out.
Yes.
Along the way.
You are turned into a machine, an organic machine. Some are worried about robots. You are a robot. Many are. And they're being programmed very well. It's when you
and we're constantly bombarded too with
yes.
Negative electromagnetic frequencies
yes.
and this hard stuff, this CERN thing, and you know it's just like, and then we have our cell phones in our face that has radiation on it. It's just never ends.
Also, yes, your cell phone. Well, one before we go into your robotic society, which you are involved with, can be deprogrammed, can connect to more to its wretched self what wish to be.
Oh, great.
Many are unaware of it, and many wish not to.
Do you just tell it, just command it to be deprogrammed?
Yes. There's
other
ways. Yeah, you have to find your own way. It's different for everyone. But as for your cell phones, understand this has great communication promise. But also, if you're going to be communicating, we're going to do things to you if you use these devices. We're going to have wires energies coming through to you, the warrior vibration, cell phone towers, whatever it is, the warrior vibration. These things are planted for good reason, to shut you down. So yes, you might be able to communicate with others, but half-ass it by some of your sexual partners, which is nothing wrong with that. But if that's all you think about, you're just seeing the small piece of the pie. The rest of it is hidden. It is cut up and thrown away. But many are very adolescent at this time. They are unwilling to realize the big picture. But that will end soon.
That's pretty sad. There's a lot of people that are making these devices called orgone generators. Others call them tower busters to neutralize the negative EMFs. And apparently, some of these people who made these disappeared.
Yes.
Making YouTube videos one day and then they disappeared, and they've been accused of being terrorists for gifting towers so that they will not spread negative frequencies.
Yes, that'll be a continued energy that's going to constantly go into your environment to eventually, when your humanity awakens up. But they're unwilling to wake up because of fear. Because, yes, ego is blocking majority here. They are aware of negativity and they wear it like a hat. But once they remove the negativity around them, they mature out. It's like spreading out like a plant, growing. But right now they are just a seed that grows slowly.
Well, it's a good thing that there's more and more people waking up. Hopefully they'll spread the knowledge more so that you can help others wake up also.
What is going on in your cabal? They are planning many things for this Trump as for shutting him down. The media they have around their little finger. So it has no problem of destroying him, dissecting him, doing whatever they can to take him down. I believe they will be unsuccessful. But they will try, because this one is as dirty as they are. I believe that's already seen.
Yes.
But he plays by his own rules. He can be just as ruthless as them by shutting down fundings. But he knows where it's not the last. They don't go too far. He will not go too far. They are allowed to. He is not, but he will survive. We do see two terms for him. Even no matter what happens, we still see 2 terms. Judging by the energies, but I would do see 2 terms.
I wondered, did Hillary really win the popular vote?
No.
I mean, are we still counting those ballots? I didn't think so.
No,
they have her ahead by one.
That is a middle finger to them.
Yeah.
It's like you could have won it, but not really. They wanted something. They wanted to feel a little bit better about themselves. So yes, it is rigged. They can do whatever they want, but in this case, they did let it go, where it seemed like the people had said their way. But it could have been decided much sooner, but they chose not to go that route. A second term is sometimes easier for that. The first term, depending on its person. Your Bush crime family, yes. Many of them sold their souls to the elites. George W. Bush sold his soul a long time ago. When he was actually very young, he does not remember it. But to be part of this system is to tear one's soul down into, I believe he does painting now. Is because his morals, everything has been shut down into more of a creator to redeem himself, but understand he has a mind of a child for good reason. His DNA was not. He was a troubled one with health as for mental control. He does not understand many things, so they had to dumb it down. But he did exactly. That's why Cheney actually Bush was the one who was really supposed to run the show, and he was incapable of doing it. So Cheney was the backup plan.
Yeah, he was basically running the show from the sidelines.
Your president can. It actually can, but as long as they're doing what they're told. The information go directly to him. And they just know where it's coming from, just to give an idea. But in Bush's case, it was mostly your Cheney's. Cheney was most your president, though. He was the puppet master.
It's interesting. A lot of people don't notice, but like a lot of these same people rotate in and out of different roles within the government at the executive level. Because I want to say, was it Rumsfeld? He wasn't a vice president, but he's been a chief of staff before, and he's served a lot of roles, and so did Cheney, and so did George Bush, who was like the vice president, and then the president, and the CIA director, and he was senator. So a lot of these same people rotate in and out of these different positions, and people don't realize it. Reagan was controlled too, right, by his
yes, by Bush, yes.
Staff, and the Bushes.
Yes, that was a deal for Bush to be the orchestra to actually help Reagan get elected. Without him, Reagan most likely would have won anyway, but he helped Reagan make sure that the transition would go well. The backup man, the man behind the scenes, yes. And Reagan even knew that he was second man in charge. You might as well be in. Yes. Basically, your Reagan administration is your Bush administration, basically.
And he had many handlers as well.
Oh, yes. All these have many handlers. They're just a receiver. But it is still, it's like their presidency. They do seem like it. They do put their name on it, though. Mm-hmm. Because they are doing it well, and they're rewarded well also with longevity, as you can see. Some of them are. Some choose it. This one chose it. Some choose other things. Some choose, I believe you have an idea.
So I know Reagan had an attempt on his life. Was it one or two? Was that because he was out of line at some point?
There were other attempts, but that shooter got lucky. Reagan wasn't. What happened is that Reagan would needed to know who was boss. Mm-hmm. And at this time, he was not giving in as easily as he thought he was. He thought he was cooperating, but they wanted to let him know that he's not in charge, others are. So that was what that was about. But there's been many other attempts done to them, but those been apprehended. Understand, your government can hear and see everything. There is no secrets. They have everyone's secrets with your.
Now, once they're get into, let's say they just get elected president. I mean, is there like a secret meeting that goes on behind the scene where they read them their official rights that they were not aware of before?
Yes, what happens? They do go to like a Bilderberg type meeting to make these decisions. But when they are there, sometimes their minds are erased, sometimes not, depending on the situation.
Oh, that's interesting.
But this one, it was partially removed. They were not given the entire rundown of what was going to happen. They both thought it was a mixed bag. Let's put it that way.
That's interesting. And did they also decide at the Bohemian Grove as well who's going to be like the next president and things like that?
That's what we call the male orgy. Mm-hmm. We want to give a better name. That's what it should be called, the male orgy. Mm-hmm. It's there to put males into positions that they do not want to be in. Mm-hmm. Or the controls. Like sometimes they're sent there when they are being bad. They're invited. They don't realize they're actually being punished. But some are rewarded, but some do go to be punished. By other
they're not towing the line.
Yes. Some of the older are aware they are behaving. Your Nixon behaved, and many do behave. The more you behave, You are left alone. You can have your women. You can have whatever you want. But if you do not behave, many things will be forced on you.
I understand how that's how it works also in the music industry to a degree. Like the more money you make, the more you have to agree to certain things that are not copacetic.
Yes. To go back to your subjects, but to go off a little bit, and your Anthony Weiner, that is an interesting case because he could have kept that all quiet, but he chose not to. He was not obeying. If he kept obeying, that would have been leaked out, but it was leaked out because that girl that he connected to could have been easily hushed, but that was not the case because he was out of control. But this is your daily dose of Washington on a daily moment. As for your music industry, many are chosen where much money is given to them, and if you're giving this money, you have to abide by the rules. And the rules, as you can see, as much wealth, but also symbolism to continue the plan. That is,
and if you don't act right, they get blamed for tax evasion.
yes, if it is, that's the easiest place to put symbols out of the agenda. It's never made clear of the agenda, but all of those symbols they have other meanings not known to tell other Illuminati members of what is going on. I believe you're aware of this. It's in your television somewhere.
Yeah.
A certain word is said a certain way. Certain sentences are said a certain way is to tell other Illuminati members of what's to come. Even the future is sometimes predicted there, but not seen in symbolism.
Well, there's a lot of predictive programming in the television. I just look at stuff that was aired 5 years ago, and I see it happening today. And a lot of these predictive programming is shown on television stations that aren't like your popular ones, like NBC, ABC, or whatever, But they're there, for your consumption if you're interested in watching them. They're there.
Yes, they're there to take apart humanity, to tear itself, to have humanity, to rip each other to shreds. This America was made as a superpower, but if it's going to be a superpower, many reptilians arrived here to make it not an easy transition into superpower status. They brought racism, slavery. They made it as ugly as they could, starvation, to keep it off balance. If you're going to have this powerful country, you're going to make it so people can hate each other and be disconnected. And that is exactly what they have at this time. More powerful, more worse than they thought, actually. Because humanity does have a mean streak. It is not respecting itself. When it starts to respect itself, the violence will end. And your politics will end. It'll be more of a unity of happiness across your planet, but that is not the case.
It's very unfortunate.
They will learn, but the hard way, and the hard way is negativity. When many we see that are punching each other so many times, they get tired of punching each other, so there must be a better way. Because they're not getting their way. You will keep electing presidents you do not like until they figure it out. Much of this can be fixed by humanity, but it chooses not to. You can have your aliens and your cup of tea or whatever it is that you're looking for and live the good life without money, but many are not agreeing with that. They choose not to and continue to be programmed. You can unprogram yourself, but many are not ready to do that because of fear.
Yeah, it's really interesting how, you can have a discussion with people about, what we're discussing, and it just kind of boggles their mind, and
yes.
it even upsets them,
Yes.
They'll say things like, well, I've never heard that before, so it can't be true, They don't say that. You think that they mention this on television, and I'm like, well, no, they wouldn't mention this on television.
Understand that what the elites are here to do is to watch humanity tear itself apart. Humanity has a choice of changing that around, and they have chosen not to. They have the power to change everything, but they are not ready to do so. The maturity level is still very kindergarten, as you can see. When more people become more respectful, as I said earlier, of each other, you will have your paradise world.
What is a way to help change this on a massive level?
Well, as you can see, the drug cartels on your planet. And these things that are of, yes, human trafficking, is for you to send positive energies to it. But first of all, not hate yourself and find peace with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Start there and understand just with you saying a positive vibration, say you're being a good role model for others. Others will tag on to that eventually. Media helps, and eventually do see us going to the media and watch it reject it. It is not ready for it, but they can gradually learn how to understand what's the next level. Next level is to awaken. You have many abilities that have been forgotten. You can say, put on that spacesuit. That is not exactly the best way to say it, but you can explore out beyond your heavens. But information's good. How humanity is just to chill out and get to know each other. A hard one to learn, of course.
I explained to somebody I was speaking with today that I think, okay, the world is a big stage and we're just here playing our own parts and just helping each other figure things out. And he had a big problem with that. He's like, "Whoa, you need to come down to reality." I'm like, "Nope, I know reality. That's why I see things
There's fear.
the way I do."
Yes, notice the fear there. Oh, reality of being programmed.
Mm-hmm.
You're unprogrammed, you said yes. And those are called crazy. But you are just finding more happiness for your space. You're just finding your temple. And then you're not ready for that temple. They've been told since a child, this is the normal that you see. And it has been beaten into them ever since a child. So unlocking that. It's easy for some, for most it is very difficult. I must be going now. I've been here long enough, but hopefully that helps somewhat for your planet.
Oh, yes, it helps a lot. Thank you, J. Edgar Hoover, everybody.
Yes, be yourself. Put on a dress. Thank you all.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, hello.
Welcome back. How are you feeling?
Yeah, probably best just to call it a night. It's been a long day, so.
All right, sounds good. We can continue with the other on another day where you're nice and fresh. Thank you for bringing forward J. Edgar Hoover. He was very enlightening.
Good to hear.
He illuminated us much.
Yes. Great.
I think when you play this interview back, you'll be highly entertained.
Hopefully.
Yes. Well, thank you, Ivan, for being with us for another edition of Off the Deep End. And to my listeners, tune in for the next segment and have a nice day.